a lot of you guys are having questions on what to do on your off days. Is everybody in here somewhat familiar with what to do in their off days? Are you guys doing stuff on your off days? Like you four guys are new, right? So you guys know that every day of the week when you pull up your app, and I can pull up one of you guys right here. When you pull open your app, you're going to see what to do on your calendar. So, Bowden, I'm pulling you up, bud. And here's the thing you guys need to know, right? Like, there's some stuff that every single one of you is going to do while you're in this program and in this throwing routine, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every one of you has to do it on the same day. Okay, so who here's playing travel ball? And this will kind of lead me in, not this fall. Okay, so a couple of you guys. So this will lead into the next part of the conversation too. You know, you guys need to know around which time of the week should I be throwing my main bullpen session. Everybody here's a pitcher, right? I know we got a couple non-pitchers this fall. So when is your main bullpen? Like for most guys, if you're not playing travel ball, we default that to Saturday. It just makes the most sense. It's the day when everybody's in here. We don't have school, all that kind of stuff. So if you're a guy playing travel ball and you know that, hey, I've got 3, 4, 5 tournaments throughout the fall and I might pitch on Friday, well, then we need to know that ASAP. I know maybe you don't know that yet, but you will soon. Because what we can do is we can go into your calendars, guys, and we can move your days around. So do you guys know that you can move all these days? You can drop and drag these days. So like Mound Day is on Saturday for you, Bowden, but let's say maybe you did it on Sunday. You just move it to Sunday, right? But keep in mind, if you move it to Sunday, then you have to tweak the other days that you're throwing too. So Greg pretty much has this whole thing programmed out in order. When you throw a Mound Day, most guys are going to have a low intent day the next day. And after that day, most of you are going to have a long toss day the next day. And then most of you are going to go to your secondary pen day after that, and then moderate intent, and then another high intent, and then optional. That's the norm. But let's say, Maddox, let's just say you get super sore after you throw long toss, but you recover fairly quickly. Well, we might want to move a low intent day after your long toss and have your moderate intent pen day the day after that, as opposed to having the moderate intent pen day the day after. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of tailoring and customization that we can put in this, but you guys will have to do some communicating on that end to let us know. 1, let us know how you're feeling. 2, let us know, hey, I've got a wonky schedule this week. 3, let us know, hey, coach, I'm really having trouble with athletic throwing. Noah's got trouble with athletic throwing. So he wants to make sure that he does athletic throwing on one of the days he comes in here. Okay, well then we need to figure out, okay, if you're coming in every Tuesday and Thursday, we want to make sure you're getting athletic throwing on one of those days. So Greg might move your days around. But again, that's something you'll have to communicate. Otherwise, we don't know to do it. Does that make sense to you guys? That's where you guys kind of owning this routine and understanding the parameters of what falls under each day is super important, and how you navigate those days. So who here has like travel ball practices that you'll have to navigate? Okay. Best place to do all this stuff on a practice day is at practice. Show up early and get as much of it done as you possibly can. And then just assimilate with the rest of the practice group. That way you're not like, coach, I'm doing this special throwing program, Brian, I got to go do. No, just they don't even need to know what you're doing, man. Just get there early, do your warm up, do your bands, do your, whatever. If you're doing dry work, plyos, whatever you need to do, just do it. They're going to look at that and be like, oh, okay, he's doing his activation stuff. Obviously, if you guys have like a mound day and it's a game day and you're pitching during the fall, then you're going to need to make sure you allocate enough time to get all your stuff done. So that's the first thing. That's super important, guys. App navigation stuff and scheduling stuff. Do you guys pretty much have a good gauge on how to schedule your groups? Like, Everybody's been signing in, no problems with that? Perfect. I didn't think that would be too much of an issue. On the programming side, who is having trouble accessing the videos, seeing the video? Are you guys able to go in there and watch all the stuff? Okay, so no issues. I know we've had some issues with that in the past. Some guys not loading or can't click out of the stuff or whatever. Okay, good. What are the questions you guys have in regards to days, what you're supposed to be doing, anything like that? Now's the time. Now's a great time to ask it.
Is there
Max,
like lifting stuff to do when you're not here?
good question. Okay, so the lifting side of things, guys, the norm is 3 days a week. That's the sweet spot for high school athletes, where you guys are at right now. If there's ever a time where we think, hey, this athlete might need an extra day, believe me, Shannon will tell you, and he'll talk about it with you. With that being said, if you guys are coming in 3 days a week, those are going to be the 3 days that you do your lifts. Does that make sense? So I know on here, Shannon programs them for Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday, but Bowden, let's just say you're coming in on Monday and Wednesday, you just move them. That's easy, right? You just move them to a different day and you do them on that day. But those are going to be the 3 main lifts. So you shouldn't have to do your lifts outside of here unless for some reason you come in less than 3 days on a week. Then you should get with Shannon and be like, hey, I'm going to miss dynamic day on Saturday. Is it okay if I do the workout? Yeah, mate. That's what he'll say. Yeah, mate, just pull it up on the app and do it. But again, guys, like especially when we're working early on in the fall, trying to get like the foundation set on the lifting side, we like to supervise you because it's really easy to be macho and go in the gym and just be like, oh, fuck this, I'm going to max out today, when we're being very specific the first 3 or 4 weeks about rep ranges and tempos and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? That answer your question? Cool. What else? Charlie, you got a question? I know you do.
I thought I had one. So you know how you can change the calendar on like what days you do?
Uh-huh.
You can do that in the app, is that what you're saying?
Yep, this is what it looks like on a computer, on a desktop. But on your phone, on mobile, it's even easier. It's literally just drop and drag it with your finger. Hold it down, pull it, and drag it to a different day.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, super simple. Yep, good question. Any confusion on anything?
Yeah, so if we miss a day,
Mhm.
Do you like make it up on another day?
Good question. So if you miss a day, guys, like look at this calendar right here. There are throwing sessions literally 7 days a week. So I think what you're asking is, if you miss a day in here, can you make it up on another day? Like, can you come in and train on a different day? Absolutely. The 3 days you guys come in are 100% up to you. And this is the first time we're doing that this fall. We're giving you guys full autonomy to just say, hey, I'm coming in on the days I need to come in. Now, because of what Maddox was bringing up, like we suggest you split up your days a little bit from the strength training perspective, right? Because you're going to want recovery days in between your lower and your upper and your dynamic days. But let's say, hey, normally I come in Tuesday and Thursday and Saturday, and this week I'm going to miss Thursday. Well, yeah, dude, come in on Wednesday or Friday or double up a day next week. Like, it doesn't really matter to me. Even if you miss that day in here, I'd hope that you would still do that day on your own. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Is
Ross?
it 7 days a week? Is it open on Sundays? Is the
No.
facility open on Sundays? No.
No. But you have stuff to be doing 7 days a week is what I'm saying. Yeah. There's usually somebody, like Isaac's usually here Sunday mornings, Coach Isaac. So if you guys ever absolutely have to get in here to do something, go ahead and message Coach Isaac and say, hey, are you going to be there Sunday morning? He'll say, yeah, I'll be there from 9 to noon. And you guys come in and do your work, right? I'm not worried about that. Now, I don't know if I'd come in that day and do a full-on strength workout because Shannon's not going to be here. He's going to be with his family. But does that make sense? But 7 days a week, you guys have stuff to be doing for sure. Okay, on to the next. Greg, this is the part that we were talking about the other day. So we kind of went over who's playing travel ball. We kind of went over the alternative days and stuff already. Who here has an outside, like another coach that they see? Another pitching coach or another strength coach or something like that? Nobody in here? No? And it's okay if you do, right? We got a couple guys that are like, hey, I'm doing this, but I still see this guy every once in a while to work on this or whatever. Fine. if you have that, fine, guys. But just keep in mind, like what we're looking at here on this calendar is a full comprehensive plan for the volume, the frequency, and the intensity of your throwing. Okay, that like, and your training and your strength training in the gym. So there's nothing wrong with having a little tune-up somewhere, especially like on, moderate intent pen day. If you guys are not in this facility and you go do your moderate intent pen day with another coach that you trust and you've been seeing for years, fine. Just stick somewhat to the parameters of what the volume, the frequency, and the intensity is supposed to be on that day. Does that make sense? Like, I wouldn't show up on that day and have him go through some 3-hour, 200-pitch bullpen where you're going full ass, and then you threw long toss the day before. So next thing you know, you come in here and you're hurting. Does that make sense? You guys have to navigate that stuff. And the same goes for the workload during travel ball. So, Rawls, if you know, hey, man, I'm putting in a lot of work this offseason, I'm throwing bullpens on Saturday and then typically on Tuesday. And, hey, coach, this weekend I got a tournament. And I'm starting on Friday night, and then they're bringing me back on Sunday. And Friday night I'm throwing 73 pitches, and Sunday I'm throwing 52. And then Tuesday I'll be back to throw a pen again. It's like, okay, hold on a second, man. Like we're jumping the gun this early in the fall. Does that make sense? Like that kind of stuff, guys, is for the back end of the playoffs in May when you're in the Elite Eight or the Final Four and your coach needs you to go deep. That's when that stuff is reserved for, that time of year, not this time of year. So we have to understand that this whole calendar, pitching and strength and the two married together, it's put together for you guys to have a total handle on your workload for the offseason. That's not to say every single drill we're doing in here is the holy grail. Some of you guys won't like some of the drills we're doing, and that's fine. Some of you guys will absolutely love some drills while the other guys absolutely hate it. That's fine too. The whole thing's put together to show you guys some different looks, some things that you guys have never seen before, and really get a handle on the workload management so that we can stack more capacity down the road. Strength training, guys. Important as shit. If there's anything you should come in here and be super juiced up about and just like on your edge, like listening to every word, it's strength training. That doesn't mean don't listen to what Greg's saying. Doesn't mean don't listen to what Isaac and Tyler are saying. It just means that 95% of you guys, your gains are going to be made in the weight room. And I'm in there watching, and Greg, I don't know how much you've been seeing when you're headed out for the night, but I was watching guys do jumps yesterday, the broad jumps. And I'm just like, fuck, like, holy shit, you guys can't jump. And I'm like, some of those guys are dudes that are well into the 80s with their fastball. And I'm watching them jump, and their knees are buckling, and they're landing on their toes, and they can't stick the landing. And I'm like, well, okay, now it makes sense why some of those particular guys are having trouble moving forward, moving the needle from where they're at, So you guys have to understand where you're at, where your physical nature is, where you're at with all your skill set stuff, the velo, the command, all those things. And you have to understand that the physical piece in the gym is a massive part of you being able to execute out there on the mound and on the turf. Okay, like if you guys are having trouble with some of the concepts that Greg and Isaac are teaching and Tyler with the stick and understanding what the front side's doing and the pressure and all the things I've heard Greg say, it's probably because you don't have the movement patterns and just the what's the right word? You don't have the understanding of how your body works yet. And that's what you guys need to be after. You need to be obsessed with that, right? And so I'm looking at some of you guys, Rawls, you're still string bean. 6'2", 170 pounds. Max, you're a little bit more put together, but you guys still have certain things that you both need to work on in the gym, right? And there's probably only one or two guys that I'm looking at and I'm like, damn, that's a pretty good package that we have in the gym right now.
And those guys
are probably our best and hardest throwers right now. So that stuff means something, guys. If you jump higher, if you jump further, if you run faster, those are the three things that stick out to me. I'm sure Shannon can name some more. You will throw harder. If you can do those things with integrity, you will throw harder. So let's shift a little bit of our obsession and our focus towards that and get, I tell Rawls this all the time. Healthy obsessions. Don't get too freaked out about certain things. You know what I'm talking about. And then the last thing, and then, Greg, you can add in whatever else you wanted to add in. Me and Greg have already talked about all this stuff, guys, but I want you guys to think about this off season like this. And I know some of you guys are in here just for the fall. Some of you are in here for the fall and the winter. Some of you are in here for the whole year, right? But, if there's 25 or 30 guys that are training with us, in this throwing program this fall, and when we do live ABs in the wintertime, we have to make 2 rosters. We got to make a 10-man varsity roster, varsity pitching staff. We got to make a 12-man JV pitching staff. That's 22. And that means 8 people are getting cut. Where would you guys fall? Now, we're not doing this, right? We're all here for development. We're all here to get better. We're going to get every single guy better. But if that's how it was working and this was a team, athletic baseball, Velocity Max was a team we were putting together, where are you going to fall? You on the JV or the varsity or the cut? Too early to tell, right? Maddox, where are you going to be? Varsity. Okay, cool. Noah, where do you want to be? JV, maybe. Charlie, where you want? You're going to be JV right now. Okay, you're going to be saying the same thing in 12 weeks?
Probably not.
Okay, but where are you going to be, Rawl? All right, like the answer I want from Rawls is I'm going to be the Friday night starter on varsity. Because out of those 10 guys that we make the varsity cut with, we got to figure out who's pitching Friday, who's pitching Saturday, who's pitching Sunday, and the rest of the guys are pen guys, leverage guys, closer, that type of stuff. So I say all this to say this is a fun thing to think about because you're in here with a bunch of other dudes that maybe don't go to your school and you don't see all the time. Create some healthy competition. We had 2 of our young guys, a freshman and a sophomore, yesterday during pull downs. They go to the same school, and they were razzing each other during pull downs because one guy pulled down 1 mile an hour harder, and the other one was, oh man, I got to outdo. That's good to a degree. That's good, guys. There's some healthy competition there, and if you see somebody else doing something good, you should be like, man, I want that. I can do better than that. Not that I'm better than him. Hey, I like that guy, but I know that I can execute on that level too. And keep in mind, guys, if throwing hard was the only conversation in this, then we'd be playing a different game. But how you pitch, how you take coaching, how you make adjustments, how you show up the next day when maybe the day before didn't go so well, that stuff goes into how we would theoretically make those rosters. And Rawls knows that when we have live ABs at the end of the winter, we actually have a pitching rotation, right? We set up 2 lineups and we line up the top 2 guys against each other, and then next to, that's what we do. Now, we don't cut anybody, right? Everybody's going to get to throw on those days as long as they're healthy. But, Maddox, your goal should be, hey, man, I want to be one of the first 2 guys throwing for live ABs for the older group. And to me, guys, we have everybody from 8th grade to seniors in high school in this group this fall. There's nothing that says an 8th grader can't be on the varsity staff. There's nothing that says that a junior shouldn't be on the JV staff if he hasn't earned his varsity status. You see where I'm at? That's how I want to grade you guys and how I want to figure out when you're doing this program. Yes, the numbers are one thing that we're measuring, but are we looking at you like you're a more complete package of a pitcher and a thrower, an athlete? That's another piece of it. Does that make sense? So throughout this fall and throughout the winter, Greg and Isaac may reference some of that stuff. Hey, man, Noah, good varsity day today. That earned you some stripes. Hey, Charlie, looking like a JV guy today. Rawls, man, what's the deal? Somebody's going to take your Friday night spot. You know what I mean? We may reference some of that stuff just to put it in perspective. And real quick, right away, you guys understand what that means. It doesn't take a 15-minute conversation. But I want you guys to start framing it up that way, not to create unnecessary pressure, but to avoid complacency. The worst thing in this particular type of program is when guys come in and they're just too comfortable. Rawls, you know that. You've seen it happen to people. That's when you get hurt. That's when you show up and just go stagnant. And that's when you actually stop showing up. Like when people just get complacent, they're like, I can only come, I'll come 2 days this week. It's cool. I just won't come next week. Competing to the guy next to you is how you keep that razor sharpness with all this. That's a really good conversation for you guys to hear, and that's the way us as coaches are looking at this thing. Every day stacks on top of each other, trying to get a little bit better every day. Greg, Isaac, you guys have a quick minute or two you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think it's, a lot just I'll hit on the last part he's talking about, just kind of the rosters and everything, I think that falls into, again, just buying into the process and, dominating the path you're on. Like, I think by and large, if you guys, we got a pretty solid group of arms in here this fall. So if your goal is to make your high school's JV team and you can make our JV team in here, I think you're going to make your school's JV team. So, there is, there is a lot of parallels there.
If you guys have questions on any of this stuff, you need to ask, right? We won't get mad at you. Like, I'd rather you ask and be clear on it than just kind of guess and not really know, okay? All right, guys. Let's have a good day today.